just to hear a sound. If someone's still around. She heard me calling. She heard me say her name, but she hides away now.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the hold up. I just had a quick conversation with my son who just came back from the dentist, so it was quite interesting to hear the story. So, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. This is a TDG stream because of the new scenery that you guys have been watching in the background. This is Johannesburg that was released last week. Friday was the last update. We're going to fly Johannesburg to Cape Town, and it's both TDG sceneries. The Cape Town scenery is a bit old, it really needs an update, but you'll see it really looks good. And being free, this might give you guys a reason to fly in South Africa. I mean, it's world class scenery from TDG, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And then to everybody that I haven't said good morning to personally, guys, welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy the flight with us. This is also my first flight where I'm going to use X-Vision for the first time in a long time. I managed to convince myself during the week while me and Jorge were doing some talking about the Zibo, and he actually convinced me, to be quite honest, and then I had to convince myself. And so this is X-Vision running. I'm not entirely happy with it yet, but I haven't spent time on customizing it. We'll get to doing that. So a couple of firsts for today. And I just see that there's a couple of very rude trucks just driving straight through my aircraft there. That's not really nice, but no, yeah. Guys, as always, feel free to ask your questions. I'm going to jump on the comments just now, quickly read through there before we get going. If there's anything I missed, I apologize. George, no, I don't. It will be released probably after the porting to C++ is completed. Remember, there is this big goal of porting from the script language, this XLua, onto C++, so that we can get better frame rates and better control. And that's also why we've been able to get the magenta lines coming onto the displays now, because we can just do so much more with C++ than what we can do with the script language. So we don't know. Um, Brian, good morning. Thank you. Guys, just for the record, I'm not one of the developers. I do support, I make the videos, I write the manuals, and I obviously interface with the team between you guys. So I speak with them a lot, and that's where Jorge comes in that I mentioned earlier. And that's why you will sometimes see the developers on my stream as well. The actual coding guys, the actual guys who make the magic happen. And for the record, this is version 1.21a. So Johan Jacobs said this morning it should be fine, and I'm trusting in that. And without further ado, let's get going. Right, I need to get my British Airways Virtual client, my Merlin, going here as well. Come on. Oh yeah. You're correct. You're correct. Need to change my livery. I forgot. Being a British Airways flight, we're gonna have to choose the correct livery. Sorry, guys.
2.
So there we go. Let's quickly see. Did this? Nope. Let's quickly restart Merlin. Let's just make pretty sure that we're gonna have a flight that counts for us. Gear down and locked. There are various reasons why people have issues. From the Zibo side, I can tell you that there are a couple of code issues. the Zibo team is not blameless, but in all fairness, 50% of the problem resides locally as well. So that's a whole discussion on its own. We won't go into too much detail with that. I think the bottom line is you just need to install it properly. If you install it, calibrate everything properly. But a lot of guys laugh the manual off. They laugh the advice off. They think they're more clever than we are, and I feel sorry for them. Okay, Merlin is running, so this flight should count for the VA, which is very important. We have to do one flight every month at least, so that will be it then. Excellent. Yeah, gear down and locked, but not many people have the background, you know. It is nice though to get support from actual qualified people to just calm the folks down and say, you know what, it's normal, don't worry. But people think it's abnormal and then they just lose it. So it's nice to have some support. Thank you very much. Alright, I think this is the best angle for the shadows. Now that will make a nice screenshot. I'm seriously going to have to tweak this X-Vision a little bit. It seems to go very blue when you go into the shadows as well. Strange, but we're not complaining. Right, so we've got the GPU connected, chocks are up. Let's quickly run through some of the setup here, just to make sure that we are on the right place. John, X-Vision is a program that messes with your shaders basically. It gives you a more nicer view, so you can change, you know, the display with it really. If you go to the X-Vision website, I'll give you the whole rundown of exactly what it is. Alright, I've changed my align time to short again. Some of the tests we did, we had to get a move on, so I'm just going to leave it as that.
Unit 3, 1.
Alright, keep you there, and let's just quickly save everything. Make sure this livery's got the save. Gear down and lock. If you go to parking brake simple, it means that it's just a flight simulation procedure. You just press the parking brake and it will come on. If you go to real, you need to physically step on your toe brakes and then press the parking brake, otherwise it will not set. So that's the difference. In the real aircraft you have to step on your toe brakes to get it to activate parking brake when you click on it. Right, so one last time, everything seems fine. like I said, this is TDG Johannesburg. The download link is in the description below the video. I didn't give you the specific airport link. It's at the top of the list because it's the latest one he released last week. There's two versions. You get one with static aircraft and one without static aircraft. I cannot stand static aircraft. It irritates me, so I always go for the airports without static aircraft. And then also Cape Town is somewhere in the mix, but this guy has got dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of airports. So you guys must just search for the TDG Cape Town, but it's in the list. I gave you everything, and it's quite worthwhile looking through the database that is built up over many years. There's some very, very nice free scenery for you guys there. Right, so we are going to use a payload of 16.9. Oops, that's wrong. How did I click that? 16.9. And in the real world we usually put 9 tons, but PFBX is telling me 7.7, which should be fine, so let's stick with that. Just to get our loading correct, and takeoff weight 66 tons. Right, so loading is complete. I'm in fact going to start our flight leg now so the packs can start boarding. Our next step is to get our lights sorted. So emergency lights go on first and the nav lights. David asked me the other day, why do we switch on the nav light so early on? And I didn't have the correct answer. I know that it's when you get into the aircraft you switch it on. Apparently by definition, when you switch your nav lights on, it means that there is a qualified pilot on board. So the captain is there or the first officer is there. How's that for a bit of trivial knowledge? Oh, and by the way, I'm using X camera, so that Skisselkoff stop zooming doesn't really work for me. It seems to not like the X camera, so if I zoom in too quickly and go off the mark there, that's the reason. I need to get my flight plan into Active Sky quickly so we can use our voice ATIS/METAR. Our cruising flight level will be 310, and then we'll just keep our eye for a step climb. Keep our eye on that if we've seen the cruise, see if we can go higher later on. It's about 1 hour 40 minutes in the air, so I'm going to try and do the groundwork as fast as possible just to get there.
Foxtrot, Alpha, Oscar, Romeo, Airport Information, Hotel 0730, Zulu, Weather, Wind 039er at 10, Visibility 10,000, Sky Condition, Few Clouds at 2,000, Temperature 15, Dew Point 12, QNH 1025, Advise on initial contact, you have information, Hotel
Just want to hear the winds again quickly.
Foxtrot, Alpha, Oscar, Romeo, airport information, hotel 0730, Zulu, weather, wind 039er at 10, visibility 10,000,
Okay, so we've had a
sky
wind
condition, few
shift,
clouds at
wind
2,000,
change since I planned the flight this morning.
dew
That's
point
very
1, 2,
interesting.
QNH.
We are then going to use runway 3 left instead of 21 right. So I just need to make the adjustments in Navigraph as well. While we're making adjustments. Okay, fuel, okay, I'm going to keep that the same. Right, we're going to use the Ragul departure 3 Alpha. Right, so that has changed. What am I doing? FACT. Idiot. FACT, the brain. Yeah, that's right. Let me go see if I actually exported that. FAOR FACT01 load error. Why is that? One more try, otherwise we do it manually. FAOR FACT01. There we go. Good morning, Liam. We're doing Comair for British Airways, CAW 413. And 03 left. Alright, let's see if we can quickly pick up the weather from Active Sky on the app there. Just to give us some indication, I presume 19 is active, correct? Gear down and locked. If you look below the video, in the description, there's a link to my private hangar. My actual X-camera set is in there. You can just download it and have a look-see. You can also go to the community files. I did upload it to the X-camera community, and you can actually import it directly under the Schematics name via your X-camera app. But either or, it's there. I can show you when we are in the air and we can talk more about it, but that's the basic place where you can find what I'm using. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try an RNAV approach on this one, and then we'll have the ILS as a backup. Hey George, well Liam, yeah, VR is becoming a big thing now. I haven't moved that way. Don't think I'm going to move that way in a wee while. We'll see how it works out. What are we looking for? Ardas 1 Bravo, that's correct. I'm going to use Nesek. We'll change that if we have to. We're going to run through the Lex page just now, so let's have a look, see. Okay, John. Interesting. There seems to be an issue. That could be the go around all the vectors. We'll see now. So let's step through slowly. Right. Let's take out those vectors. There we go. What a curve. What a nice curve. Right, okay, so the only issue that I see is that our runway is not connected, which means we might have to do a heading departure vector ourselves, but we'll get there. We'll just work through step by step. Other than that, it seems fine. Yeah, gear down and lock. The maths will be, it will be crazy to see. I can't imagine the stuff that goes in here, man. Right, so let's continue.
Flight slow. Full up. Wind
Hey
shear.
Felix, good
Wind
morning.
shear.
Thanks for
Wind
dropping
shear.
in, eh?
Terrain. Terrain. Pull up. Obstacle. Obstacle. Pull up. Airspeed.
Adjust vertical speed. Adjust. Climb, climb now. Climb, climb now. Climb, crossing, climb. Climb, crossing, climb. Climb, climb. Clear of conflict. Descend. Descend, descend, crossing, descend. Descend, crossing, descend. Descend, descend now. Descend, descend now. Increase, climb. Increase, climb. Increase descent. Increase descent. Maintain vertical speed. Maintain. Maintain vertical speed. Crossing. Maintain. Monitor vertical speed. TCAS test. Pass.
All overhead bins are closed and all passengers are seated.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Liam, no, I'm okay. I've actually got coffee in my hand, eh? George, no, I don't fly for a living. I hung up my wings many years ago in the real world, so this is where I'm flying now, and what my passion is to share the flight sim and training and everything that I've learned with the rest of the community and all who would like to, you know, learn to fly but maybe can't afford it or don't have an opportunity. Paul, I don't think you can hear the Morse code. You can hear it for the VORs. We did a test a flight or two ago, actually on one of my other streams. We can't hear the Morse code for the NDB. We can only hear it for VOR. So that's still something that's supposed to be on the bucket list somewhere in the development. Right, okay, well, I'm ready. Let's call the tug. Let's get going.
Grounded cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Flight attendants prepare for departure. Cross check and all call. Thank you.
All right, we've got everyone strapped in. Give us a ring if you need anything.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Board boarding door has been closed. Once people do it, all passengers who remain seated at this time, please double check the handbook and your seatbelt. All electronic devices will be turned off until away this time. The service with all cellular phones and US users.
Hey, Dean.
Flight attendants, please prepare your doors to departure contact.
The course makes absolutely no difference right now. If we go to set up the ILS or the approach as such, that's when we're going to change it. That was obviously for the previous runway where I landed, so whatever my previous flight was, remember Zibo will remember those values, so that was for the previous runway. The course will be runway heading, by the way, but that's for the arrival runway, not for takeoff at all. It's got no bearing here. George, yeah, I'm just testing version 1.21a. We've had some good reports, and we've had obviously the one or two guys complaining again, so I just want to see for myself what's happening. This will be obviously my first flight with it, so we'll see what happens. Other than that, not really. I'm using X-Vision for the first time now since I've bought it. I used to use it long time ago, then stopped. Didn't want to buy it until Jorge convinced me, and I convinced myself in the week, you know, to just get it. So we'll see what happens now. Dean, you're welcome. Guys, you must feel free to talk to me. I'm just going to ramble. If you don't talk with me and there's no questions, I'll just say what comes into my mind. So please feel free to chat with me, eh? I suppose we're ready to let go of this break.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
I see we were parked on a downhill there. We actually pushed that tug back. Amazing. Alright, so to start the engines we have to have the backs off, that's for sure, and then let it rip. Thank you, John. Yeah, George, look, I mean, the guys know what they're doing. Me and Jorge were up until midnight our time trying to get the first fix, that 20A, going. We had to do some tests. Jorge then spoke directly to Zibo while I was on Discord there, and you know, so I went to bed. I couldn't handle it anymore. I can just imagine how tired Zibo must be some days, you know. I mean, he's like an hour or two in time ahead of us here in South Africa, so you're talking about a guy working like 2-3 in the morning to get a fix out. I mean, I can just imagine how tired he must have been. And I see we've had complications with 20, so 21, so 20A had to be brought out. It's amazing, eh? He doesn't stop. He's a champion. Oops. Yeah, yeah. If it doesn't stop and there's an incline, it goes.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake. Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, that takes care of our pressurization system. Everything else seems fine. Yeah, it's amazing when the hobby becomes more of a job than the real world job. That's when it gets interesting.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left.
And you won't believe it how
And have
irritated
fun
I
up there.
sometimes get when the real world interferes with virtual world. And I think, oh, now I need to go work. Ah, no. But you've got to do what you've got to do. Thanks for the pin, buddy. I don't know the whole story, John. I just hear what I've been told by the guys in the team. But basically it comes down to this. C++ is like the Ferrari or the Rolls-Royce or whatever your image would be of the top of the range kind of programming languages. C++ gives a lot more opportunity for development and features, and it also will bring down the frame rates requirements. So the Zibo should, run better on a lower spec PC because you get better frame rates. And that, to me, those two things are the most important reasons for having C++. You want more control. You want to be able to develop a better aircraft and then score some FPS in the interim as well. Right, so we have flaps 5 and green light. Everything is set up for us, and we can start our taxi to runway 03. Also, something that largely goes unspoken, really, so I don't want to say too much of it, is with script language, every idiot can make changes to the script, but you need some qualification to make changes to the C++. You can better protect your code and your investment with C++. There's been a lot of Tom, Dicks and Harrys making changes to the Zibo code and creating problems for the project. So that's one way of also getting rid of those idiots. That's what I believe, John. It needs to go to C++. Then the aircraft will get compiled instead of just released the way it does now. So righto, Dave. We'll welcome you back just now. Right, let's see if Merlin actually picked up that I'm starting this flight. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. I love this new client that British Airways Virtual has brought in. I still don't like the fact that you need to sit here and answer the questions, every hour, and I still don't like the idea that you have to fly every 30 days, but I suppose that's just how it is, so we just live with it.
the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Approaching 03 left. On runway 03 left.
answering an awful lot of questions.
I've just realized I've been speaking to myself. You guys didn't hear me. Sorry, guys.
Yes, we did.
No, you heard me because you're on Discord. The guys on the stream didn't hear me. It's gotta go. Yeah. Guys, I like this livery, notwithstanding the red nose. I think it's a gorgeous livery. John heard me say that, so I'm just repeating myself. I'll put the link, or I'll put the livery in my private hangar. I don't think it's in the private hangar. I initially thought it was an Audiobird one because it has the same naming convention, but I went back to his folder, it's not there, so I must have found it via a Google Drive or a Google search at least. But I won't be able to tell you who made it, where it came from. I obviously just found it somewhere on Google. sorry. I muted the stream voice for some reason. One of the kids probably. I think my daughter came in. So I muted that quickly, but I forgot to unmute it. Okay, I've just created a folder in my Zibo folder called liveries, and I've copied the British Airways one in there. It says it's uploaded, so sure you can go grab it. No, that's between you Brits. I have no idea. I can tell you how to make braai vleis. You know, you take a nice big piece of steak and you put it on the. You see, now I'm trying to think. How do we explain this? It's not a barbecue. In South Africa, we call it a braai. So we make a hell of a big fire in our braaier, our fireplace. And we braai this piece of steak and then we eat it. You know, I mean, that I can tell you how to braai in Afrikaans. Get down and locked. I think that's just a normal reaction. We've had so many discussions about the Max, and my favorite defense is look at Airbus. Look how many A320s crashed and how many people died while they were busy developing that thing. But people are very quick to forget. That's just part of the process, and I'm not making light of it. I'm not saying that it's supposed to happen. Just saying, if you look at anybody's track record, you can even look at the Russian plane manufacturers. Everybody at some point in time have a hiccup that they need to sort out. So let them do this thing, and we'll see next year or a month or 3 from now, whenever everything is settled, everybody's going to be happy again. It's a freaking expensive exercise and unnecessary loss of life, that's for sure. But the guys have to do what they have to do. My father-in-law many years ago said to me a very what's the correct way of describing it? He taught me a valuable lesson. He said to me, Nico, nobody on earth, doesn't matter who you are, nobody just arrives. There's a journey that everybody needs to go on, and it doesn't matter who you are. You can think of any human being on earth. Nobody just arrives. And the same goes for the product that the human develops. Nobody just arrives. If I look at the amount of hours that Jorge flies the Zibos to iron out the kinks, if I look at the amount of hours that Twixter puts into this, and then we get to the other guys, I'm not even going to go into all their names, but you know, some of them fly deck to sim, for instance, and the other unsung heroes. And then you get to Zibo and you think the hours, the years that have gone into the development of this aircraft. Nobody just arrives. It just doesn't happen that way.
Fails to go.
Alright, so let's have a look at our little FMC there, and let's see what it tells us about our cruise. So our optimal flight level is actually 3.6. The flight plan said 3.1, so what we're going to do is we're going to climb up to 3.6 now. So the first order of business is we need to protect our lives. We need to make sure that we are going to be healthy at the end of the day and be able to land this plane again. So we need the pressurization system in place. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to 360 and hit altitude intervention and sit back and relax. Okay, I'll try my best for you. I'll try my best. Gear done and locked. Yeah, the procedure I just showed you, that's the normal procedure. So basically it actually does it automatically for us. So there you can see it's changed the cruise for us. We don't have to physically change it. We can change it. There's nothing wrong with changing it, but in doing the actual procedure that I did, everything gets done for us. Let's just keep an eye on that one. We'll see if it shows us the top of descent. But in normal operations, this is all you do. The way I showed you, go check it, change it, and hit your altitude intervention. I see, it seems we can still see TD, so that should be fine. TD is still calculated. The moment TD isn't calculated, you know you're in trouble.
That's me go.
George, under normal circumstances, there are two reasons. Number one, your flight route is too short. When the FMC calculates the rate of climb and the amount of miles that the aircraft need to travel in the whole flight plan, and it looks at the viability, if it's not viable, it's going to say unable cruise altitude. That's the one reason. The second reason is overweight. If your aircraft is too heavy, it forces a step climb. This is the normal real world features and operations. In terms of the Zibo, what we did was, and I reported back to the guys as well, we went through a couple of phases. I took the 900, I took the 738, and then I looked at various versions, and what we found in the tests is that as of version 3.34 1.15 RC, there seems to be a little bit of a calculation issue in the code, in the Zibo code, and Twixter actually asked me just to be patient and not to worry too much about it, because of the porting to C++ and all the work that is currently, happening. So I'm happy with that. The guys know about it and they will work on it. We've seen it in the test flights with the 700 as well, because the 700 was updated to a second version about a week ago as well, and because of the introduction of the new code, the same started happening there as well. So the guys are aware of it, but it's not a priority. The guys have got a, let's call it a game plan or a roster or a project plan, whatever you want to call it, that they work to. So there's certain goals that they're working to, and unfortunately little things like this that break don't necessarily means that they're going to stop the whole production, go back, retrace everything and fix it immediately. They work it into the schedule again, which is why we were asked to just be patient a little bit, because it's now, in the pipeline, just needs to happen now. Exactly, yeah, it's all there. Yes, George. Yeah, it happens to all of us, at some point in time. I never thought in my whole life, to make a serious comment from a joke now. I never thought I would ever have to go on a diet. As a young chappie, I always thought, these people, how can they let go of themselves? Oh, now I'm old and I'm in the same boat, and I go, what were I thinking when I was young and stupid? It happens. Man, this looks beautiful. Wow. What do you guys think of these visuals? KFC, Nando's and Spur, yeah. George, I've had the pleasure of sharing some knowledge in the week, and I've found value in ending the whole conversation with each individual. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you lend your ears out to, because not everybody knows the facts, and assumption is the mother of all stuff-ups. So just be careful. I mean, if you come to our Zibo group, there are a couple of very knowledgeable guys there, and I mean, we've got Jorge from the development team, and we've got Twixter from the development team in our group with us, and we've got myself and then a few others that really know what they're talking about. But even there in the week, I just shook my head with some of the comments that some of the people made. I go, what do you actually know? Why don't you just keep quiet? But it's part of the group. I can't interfere too much, I can't really be nasty. So just be careful who you listen to. Well, that's it. I did mention that on the stream as well, John. I mean, apart from Zibo, every single developer on the team is a real-world 737 pilot, type-rated, with thousands of hours. The guys really know what they're doing. The challenge is, if you think for yourself, just imagine I come to you today, whatever your vocation is, whatever your work is in this life, and I say to you, okay, start coding. I mean, you're either going to be able to do it or not, or you're going to have to go through one hell of a steep learning curve to get things done. Jorge was telling me in the week, and if you look at these pictures that he's putting up on our group regarding the 738, to learn that CAD program that he uses to create the cabins and the instruments and everything that you and I are using on a daily basis, it took him 3 years to learn the program to be able to draw what you and I are enjoying on a daily basis now. 3 years to learn a program. It doesn't just happen overnight again. I mean, if you look at this, I don't know how many of you guys have actually watched him draw, this whole cockpit. How many of you have actually watched him do it, line by line, letter by letter, drawing by drawing. I mean, it's hours and hours and hours of work, and like you said, 3 years to learn the program. Alright, so if you look at the screen, that's where we are obviously, and that's the destination. So there's a bit of a way to go. It's about 1 hour 40 minutes in the air. Yep. True, George. True. Everything looks easy until you try it yourself. George, I try and shield the team as much as possible from the bad comments. I mean, if I don't know how many of you know about the attacks that I've had on me personally and how nasty some of the assholes have been. And the sad thing is, not one of these idiots stay long enough so I can actually have the pleasure of banning them. They just run away. They come in, they throw up in the group, and then they run away, you know, before I can actually get any kind of vengeance, you know, or payback, you know. And Zibo does not have Facebook, and he said to us in 2 weeks ago, he's got no plans and no desire to get on Facebook because of all the saltiness and all the crap that the people give. So he's totally, you know, he's oblivious to the negativity. He doesn't even care. He doesn't hear it. He doesn't care. Audio Bird has got the Discord server, and Tim and I have been talking a little bit here on the side. I'm also a moderator on there. We actually banned a guy last night for being an asshole as well, and it happens on a daily basis. You know, you've got to protect yourselves. Audio Bird also is not involved with Facebook at all. I think he said he has an account, but he's got no desire to use it. So Twixter and Jorge are members of our group, and they do interact with you guys, but there's a limit to what they're going to say on Facebook, because officially the org forum is the official information source at this point in time, not Facebook. We're just helping you guys with the Facebook page. So Jorge will say certain things, Tim will say certain things, and they've actually asked me not to field some of the questions and actually bounce it straight to the forum, because Facebook is not supposed to replace the forum. It's just there as a help. It's there where the community can talk together and we can actually interact with each other there. So you guys also have to bear that in mind, and if you ever see me say to somebody, just go to the forum, that's the best place, because that's the only place Zibo is going to find it. Now, we can obviously, from our side, report errors, and the two guys see it there, but they're not necessarily going to share it with Zibo because it's not the right place, kind of a thing. So it's a tight line. That also doesn't that doesn't mean they're going to simply just ignore it, because in their meetings they do discuss some of the things that have been mentioned, you know. So it's just something that you guys have to bear in mind. The official place is the forum. The Facebook is a nice to have, and that's one way that the team protects themselves from the assholes and the saltiness and all the other stuff. Because I can tell you from personal experience, when you get attacked for absolutely no reason by this person who thinks he's so good and so cool and he's got no clue what he's talking about, it hurts, eh? It hurts like hell, and it takes me 3 days at least to work it out of my system when I get sweared at and people treat me like crap on that page. So that's one thing that the team does, is to not be there the whole time, not see it the whole time, not hear it the whole time, because I can just imagine how negative, you know, the influence would be on the team and the project, you know. So guys, if you ever see somebody being an ass, please tell me, so we can sort it out quick. Paul, the question is about the backup displays. What kind of failures would have to happen so that you would need to use them? In the real aircraft, I've been told it's basically engine failures. It's catastrophic engine failure basically that goes on to the display here at the bottom. It's about failures, but I know the engines are there, but I'm not sure what other failure would be noted there. Currently Zibo doesn't support failures as such. There's also actually a story behind that story which I'll tell you guys just now. But that display basically is reserved for all the failures, and I know engine is one. John, you are saying that we should always remember that 99% are grateful. That is true, but believe me, from personal experience, it doesn't take away the hurt and the anger and the frustration for at least 3 days. It takes me 3 days to get over one asshole swearing at me and telling me what useless rubbish I am. You understand? And this is unfortunately a human thing. I don't know, some other guys can probably laugh it off quicker. I think I'm busy developing a thicker skin, but I've watched some of the other team members get attacked. I've watched how they reacted. I've seen it physically. It's not nice, and this is why the guys are not that cool or eager. That's a better word. They're not that eager for social media because it's just too easy to get hurt.
How many times have I spent time calming you down,
yeah,
reminding you about the 99.9%?
Yeah.
Yes, of course it hurts.
George says, yeah, he must admit no Facebook for him either. You know, there's come days where I've thought of just switching it off. Say, you know what, not today. I'm not going to leave it, but there's, especially in the last 2-3 weeks where I was running 2 contracts in the real world in my business, you know, I wasn't as active in the last 2 weeks, and I can't afford to get sidetracked. So I just go, not today, later. We'll sort it out. At least there weren't big fights. But the thing that kills me about Facebook at this point in time is it seems that the guys know when I'm awake and when I'm asleep. So I've seen a bit of trouble overnight. While I'm fast asleep here in South Africa and we're in the US time zones, I've noticed that 1 or 2 guys, I actually deleted some posts this morning from the Facebook group because it's totally not relevant and it's totally not good manners to have that on there. I'm at a loss for words at some of the comments that some people put on there. So, this morning I cleaned out a little bit. But it's funny how the guys seem to be more active on the negative side when I'm asleep, and then I have to just clean up the next morning. George again, he says, I don't like adding comments on forums. I don't want it to sound like a complaint. It depends on what it is, and it depends on how you word it. That is something that I've had to learn over time, how to word something, because you can say a negative thing in a nice way, actually, if you just go and sit and think about it. Or you can pose it as a question. And this is what some of these bullies don't understand. If somebody comes to me and he says to me, yeah, this magenta line isn't working and I wish these guys would get their act together, then immediately I'm going to be defensive and I'm going to think, go away, But if somebody comes and he says to me, did you notice the magenta lines are not working anymore? Right? The same message kind of gets through because, hey, we now need to look at this. We need to fix this, But look at the difference in the wording and the tone. And I mean, I can work with somebody who asks me questions or who gives me constructive criticism. Okay, if you come to me and you say to me, here's a problem, but you don't offer a solution, then you are part of the problem in my mind. And same goes in my real business, in my real world. I hate people who come to me and give me problems without solutions, because if you're so clever to figure out the problem, why don't you figure out a solution? It would save a lot of time and hassle and emotions if you actually spend some time on coming up with a proposal. If you say to me, hey, did you see the magenta line isn't working? It would sure be nice if that could be addressed. It just sounds better than to barge into the room and say, oh no, these guys, yeah. Okay, now Paul, vague question. You meant if the primary display goes down, the horizontal and all those things. Okay, I'm not sure how much of redundancy is currently built into the Zibo. In the real world plane, there's enough redundancy for those kind of things. If those things happen, you've got 2 GPSs, you've got 2 or 3 computers actually running in the background, you've got dual FMCs, part of the computer system, you've got dual displays. So there's a lot of things that you can rely on if they go down. I haven't actually heard for a long time, maybe even never, that it dies as bad as that. Also depending on the configuration of the aircraft. Here we've got an electronic backup, but a lot of the old aircraft still have your normal vacuum, artificial horizons and stuff here in the middle. So there are ways and means. There's at least 2 or 3 computers running here, so it's almost inconceivable that all of them will die at the same time. I hope that answers your question. But in terms of Zibo, I don't think there's any redundancy built in because there are no failures yet. Any failures, let's quickly talk about the failures. Any failures that you guys get in the Zibo comes from here. We go to flight configuration. When you choose your aircraft, here at the bottom, do you see there's failures? There's a button that you can press. when you delete your PRF file, your explain preferences and stuff, this thing gets reset to default, and by default this is on. So it will give you a time-based failure at some point in time, and you can obviously come and reset it here. It is amazing how many guys report bugs because of Zibo, and then you go and you look here and you say, oh, but hang on, that's an explain failure that was injected into the Zibo. It's got nothing to do with Zibo. Zibo doesn't model failures in the way that you and I think of it. The failures that you get in Zibo will be because of incorrect programming of the FMC. All right, incorrect usage of the switches. I mean, if you forget to set your pressurization system, you're going to get a blackout. And how many people have not reported the blackout, the hypoxia basically, as being a bug in the Zibo? They can't fly higher than 20,000 feet because they fly 10 minutes and then the screen goes black, and they go onto the outside and say, oh, but look here, this works. Why does it not work internally? It's a bug. It's not a bug. It's the Zibo failures comes from incorrect configuration, and that is the way it's supposed to be, because for everything that you do in this aircraft, there's a check and a balance. It gets checked, it gets balanced, and then the next thing can happen. If you don't set the one system up correctly, the next system will fail, because the one is dependent on the other, because that's what gives the realism in the plane. Yeah, George, you say you get an answer 10 minutes after the abuse. Well, look, with we obviously try and keep the abuse on our Facebook pages down to the minimum. I'm a moderator on real world pages, real aviation pages, and a bunch of flight sim pages. And we've adopted, where I'm involved in, we've adopted a zero tolerance for nonsense. But unfortunately, like I say, sometimes the guys slip through, or they physically attack me. You know, we had a discussion, me and one of the Zibo developers the other day about, and John, also I spoke to you about it. This was after I spoke to the team member. You've got a lot of guys with arrogant attitudes, you know, that think they're more clever than everybody else, and those guys are usually also the guys who don't mind abusing other people, and we don't want them in our groups. We don't want them. That's why Audiobird also on his Discord and me on the Zibo page, we just ban guys very easily. You know, if you can't behave like a decent human being, we don't want you there. As easy as that. Paul, when you carry, sorry, your question is, you were just wondering why there seems to be a need for spare altimeter. I think it's a legal requirement because of the fact of all the souls that you carry, you know. The Zibo itself is in a C8Y156 configuration, meaning it carries 164 passengers. The newer models of the NG actually carries up to 189 souls on it. So if you consider the value of life, any redundant system that is added is just good, you know. So if it fits, let it be there, and then at least you don't have to stress too much when the popo hits the fan, you know. John, I'll get back to your pressurization story in there. Hello, Death Pro Gamer. What a name. Thank you. Thanks for joining the stream. Oh yeah, George, the pausing. Yeah. There's so many things that can go wrong, man. And not all of them are bugs. Sometimes you just got to read through it and, you know, work through it. All right, so in terms of the pressurization system, I think the first way to combat any error is to just use the correct procedure. And the correct procedure is always your... Let me zoom in there. Recirculation fans on auto, packs on auto, isolation valve on auto, and the engine bleeds need to be on. Right, that's the basics. If you have that in the air, the only other thing that can really kill you is if you don't have the correct flight altitude. You have something like 2 minutes max from when you change altitude before this needs to be in place, before hypoxia starts to set in. It's very fast. It's like 2 minutes. So, John, the best advice I can give to you is make sure that you are on auto. You obviously shouldn't mess with this button over here. You know, it needs to be on auto. Don't touch that little thing and make sure you're on the right value, because you should be able to reset it in the air. You can obviously reset the horns and do all those other things. There are a couple of buttons that we can use to kill the emergency bell, but you know, just use the proper procedure. That's the best way to fix it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, APU must be off. One of the things that a lot of people seem to miss greatly is the warning lights. People see lights come on and they go, ooh, pretty, but they don't read it. And if you look at your dual bleed, for instance, in the real aircraft, if dual bleed comes on, it means that you are running all 3 bleeds, or at least these 2 bleeds at the same time. Sorry, not all 3, it's these 2 bleeds. And you can effectively blow up your APU if dual bleed is on. So if you're going to blow it, and that's part of the code, then you're stuffed. Then you're going to have to restart the flight. So I'm not sure if that is modeled. I don't think it's... But it might be. It might be. Like I said, part of the Zibo code is to have the checks and balances in place. And if you blow it, you blow it. So just be careful. Use the checklist. You know, that's the best advice I have. That's correct, George. That's another way of doing it. You know, go down to below 10,000, fix the mistake, and then climb back up. That's also kind of logical. Paul, that's correct. That's correct. They will then use the vacuum facility, you know, to just run old school. See, I've got some ortho tile issues here. Look, John, see? That's interesting. That's not nice. To try and find this problem now. Really? We'll just look that way. Problem gone. Yeah. I won't advise that. Oh, look at the author someday, whenever. Alright, 280 what, 282 nauticals until we get top of descent. Yeah. Kevin, I have also for the whole of South Africa, parts of Namibia, parts of Zimbabwe. In fact, I think I've actually got the whole of Zimbabwe because I wanted to go over to the big falls. I've got parts of Mozambique, so there's like, I don't want to lie to you, there's like 795 gigabytes, almost 800 or 900 probably. Gigabytes worth of authors just for Southern Africa. Yeah, thanks George. Thank you, it helps. All the good wishes always helps. I'm quickly going to fire up my X organizer. I just want to show you guys what I've got going here. Paul, in terms of that last comment of yours, I don't know. You know, if you put more oxygen to a fire, it's going to burn hotter, it's going to burn faster. So maybe it's a good thing they couldn't open it, but at the same time, I mean, they've got oxygen masks. They should obviously have put on the oxygen masks. I don't know why that wouldn't work. I didn't see that TV episode, but the pressure that's generated on those windows with the speed that you are flying is going to make it very difficult to open. It's not like a car, you know, you can't just flick it open. These things have been designed to stay closed, so I don't know, it's difficult. Kevin, yeah, let me show you my orthos quickly if I can get that display on here. There we go. So this is my X organizer, and this is South Africa over here. So this is my coverage. So as you can see, whole stack of stuff for Namibia, Southwest Africa, then the whole of South Africa. There's portions of Mozambique, and then the whole of Zimbabwe, because at that area there at the top we've got the Victoria Falls and stuff. So that's kind of neat to actually have also for that. Then let's start from the side. This is New Zealand. I made this the other day for the previous stream where I landed in Queenstown, which is somewhere here at the bottom. I still have to finish the rest of New Zealand. In terms of Europe, that's what I've got at this point in time. I've got about 1 gig left from a 6 terabyte hard drive, so I must actually just fill in the blanks. You know, use a lower zoom level and just fill in the blanks in Europe, because I mean there's open spaces like you can see. Then for North America, this is what I've got over there. This is all basically zoom level 17 stuff that I've got on here. And for South America, this is what I have for South America. So a while ago I did a lot of flights in this area, so that was very important to have it. I personally have always been fond of Fortaleza and that area over there, so that was important for me to make them. And then we've got the Chile and Argentina area over there. This is probably one of the most beautiful areas in the world that nobody knows of. This area here, San Carlos de Bariloche, that area, and all those lakes and mountains and stuff. That is like Bavaria. It's very similar to areas in Germany, Bavaria, those areas, Austria. It reminds you of the same kind of terrain. Very nice. So that in a nutshell is my author, and that's, like I say, just under 5 terabytes. So I've got about a terabyte left. I think I mentioned the wrong values earlier. I've got about a terabyte left to do that I can use on that one hard drive. Kevin, I use a mixture of 16 and 17. In the Karoo, for instance, in the desert, there's no point in having zoom level 17 because it's just desert or semi-desert, you know, the way it looks here. But when I get to the important parts, it's all zoom level 17. It is, but nothing in life comes easy. We've talked about that. You know, if you want it, you've got to spend the time. I mean, that's zoom level 17 over there. Look at the detail. It's just amazing. And this is actually going into that zoom level 16 area. This might actually already be zoom level 16. Because I see we are in the Karoo already, so I beg your pardon for that, but I think this is zoom level 16 already. That's not bad at altitude. Okay, so Merlin says it wants me to do a pause rep in 3 minutes 47 seconds. So that's going to pop up shortly. Okay, so I've put a hold in on Charlie Sierra Victor, which is the Sierra's VOR. We're going to do a right-hand hold there on a 2-minute turn, so we'll see what happens there. A bit far to see now. Ha! I knew I must just be clever about it. There you go. There's the hold ball. Oh, that's the Sierra's VOR. There's a little picture for you. Okay. Right, so that's Merlin. It wants us to tune 134.90 on COM2. Go. No worries, I actually don't use holds that much, so I had to, you know, figure it out quickly on the fly. But basically, you go to hold, it tells you which fix it's talking about, and then what you do is, if you don't want that one, you click on next hold. Already chose that one. Let's see if we can take Ardas. Nope, hold. So what I wanted to do was to just add it here, Ardas. You know, just go like that, but it doesn't want it. So that's when I clicked on the next hold, and it actually had some blocks in here that I could enter the value into. Did that, and it then went back to the old page. I'm wondering why. Why it's not allowing us. Let's just go to that is for the go around. Well, I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking it doesn't want to do more than one hold. So let's just go back to the hold page and see if we can delete this one. Nope. I'll have to brush up on my skills with this. Because you surely should be able to cancel the hold. Oh, you know what? Probably here. We go to delete. There we go. So there it's back. Okay, so that's the normal flight plan. So we go to hold. See, and this is where I wanted to put in the CSV now. So let's see, where's this? Yeah, that's on on the go around that one. How are we gonna add that one? Oops. Oops. Hey Jules, welcome to the party. We're busy looking at holds and stuff. Thinking out loud. We really want to add CSV in there. Okay, I've snookered myself now. Now at this point in time, I'm gonna have to see if I can figure it out, or I'll have to get back to you, Paul. Because all I did was earlier, I went to the hold page. I couldn't get the CSV to be inserted there at the top, which is exactly what we are having now. I clicked on next hold. It then brought up a whole bunch of squares where we could then select CSV, input them into the squares, and that created the hold for us. So I'm obviously missing something here, and I apologize profusely, sorry, but I'll have to get back to you on that one. Maybe send me a PM on Messenger and then I can get back to you so we don't lose contact. There's got to be a way, I'm just not sure what it is. Gear down and locked. This is Merlin, let me show you. This is the ACAR's flight tracking program that BA Virtual uses. This is British Airways Virtual, so this is Merlin. This sees when I take off, where I fly, how I fly. It's like a black box, little piece of software. And then once my flight is completed, this will then send the pilot report to the virtual airline, and I will then get my little brownie points and hours for flying this flight as a member then of the team. My pleasure. Just wish I could figure this one out now. This is like crazy. Yeah, you know, I always like to help people. It worked the first time, and now that it's not working out, I'm sitting here scratching my head. What the hell? I don't know. My knowledge is not that deep to be able to help myself. That is the scary part. So I need to. I'll ask Jorge or one of the guys to just talk me through it. You know, and then on the next stream, or if you send me a PM, we can discuss it and we can get the story behind the story. There's another thing. I was flying the other night, and Jorge was on stream with me, and as I got to the approach phase, I forgot to use the V-lock, and because I didn't use the where's that thing? Let me show you. Because I didn't use this button and this facility, the VOR lock, just as the aircraft was about to turn onto finals to capture the localizer and the glide slope, the aircraft actually turned to the left because we needed to turn right. And I've seen this question many times, guys, so let me give you that knowledge at least while we're talking. Please make sure you use the VR lock so that it actually intercepts the localizer and that it doesn't make that wayward turn to the left or to the right, you know, the opposite direction. Because that's the aircraft actually just trying to hunt for the localizer, and the way to counter that is just to use the VOR lock. So I actually saw a question like that came in overnight on our Facebook page as well. You need to look at that. Okay, let's go back to progress then. There's no other way of getting this thing in there. Yeah, I've seen that. But there is no hold. So, to say the least, I'm a little bit confused. Even if we go to the hold page, there is no... There's no hold there, and there's nothing showing under the hold. It's just that one. And this is the leg on the missed approach. So this is absolutely irrelevant. Crazy but true. Let's do that. Nothing. How far are we? Let's make it direct to CSV. Let's cancel no cogs. Alright, so we're going direct to CSV now. Right. Let's go back to hold. Okay, this might be part of the problem. Let's get out of this mode because we're in map mode. Maybe that was the answer. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Look. Don't be in map mode when you try and put up a hold, guys. There, I've just learned something. You see, there's the boxes. So now we can select CSV. Now it's got a mode. Let's put Ardas in there. There you go. So I was in the wrong mode. Can you believe it? As silly and stupid as that. So there's Ardas. Well, let's start from the beginning. Alright, so we're in mode over there. Paul, have a look. Okay, so we're not in map mode. Alright, we are in just normal flight mode. So then what we do is we go to hold, click on next hold. Now it asks for where do you want the hold. So we then say Ardas and we actually put it in to the blocks. Alright. Then what we need to do is we need to tell the leg time, for instance. So we're going to use a 2-minute leg. I don't want to turn too shallow. So it's a 2-minute leg and we just say execute. And we go back to the legs page and there you have it. There's Ardas hold. As easy as that. Just shows you, wrong mode, nothing happens. Might that be a lesson to all of us? Well, let's go to the map mode now and just have a look see. There you go. Ooh, now there's something at CTV30 as well. Let's have a look. That might just be a drawing error. I think that's just a drawing error. Let's have a look see. Yeah, there's no hold at CTV. That's a drawing error. I've actually seen this on the NGX as well. I've seen it on other aircraft as well. That it sometimes just has a drawing error, so it's like it's repeating. I'm a good crisis manager. I might not know what I do in the beginning, but I figure things out very fast, eh? One of my gifts. And another thing, I hate losing. I hate losing to myself. You know, when I can't figure something out, I'll sit here and I'll fiddle with it until I work it out. That other one is definitely just a drawing error. Definitely, there's no reason for that circle to be there. But it's all good. It's all work in progress. You know, I mean, that's just how it is. It will be fixed if it's a problem. In fact, okay, we can't see that far because then the resolution is not good. We'll see when we get there. It might actually just be on this page, you know, on the map page. It might not even be in our route page, so our map page. What do you call it? Yeah, that is the plan page. That's the map page. We'll see when we get there. All good, Paul. All good. I think we can be good barbecue buddies then. Yeah, I love the problem solving as well. Okay, we need to start planning for the descent here, so let's quickly get into that. Get the charts out. We said we're going to do the RNAV approach, so we need to make sure we don't have active ILS frequencies. 1097. Okay, we're going to bump that over. We need to be on backup for ILS 1091. That's fine. That is our ILS frequency, but we're going to keep it as a backup. Then what we're going to do is now we're going to tune our course facility over here, 89, 189. That was a bit fast. Right, so that's the runway course heading. Right. Our initial altitude, well, let's go do this. This is RNAV, so we need to think a little bit differently. I'm going to set our altitude over here onto 3,000, no, 300 foot. Yeah. So we need to be able to get onto the glide path. Runway elevation is 151. Our decision height, what's that? Let's quickly see. LNAV, VNAV enabled. 463. Right, so that will bring us to 503, which means that we need to go to 500 over there. We can't go below that. That's our decision. I need to make sure that we don't go below that. Right. Yep, guys, I agree. I'm not here to put up a show. I'm not here to tell you how good I am. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. If I can learn from it, and if you can learn from it, I love to keep it real. I'm a guy who just live for that. I want to keep it real because there's no point in being this massive showman, but I provide no real value other than just a show, eh? Yeah, anyway, that's how I think about it. Right, so we've got that. Alright, let's listen to the weather.
Foxtrot, Alpha, Charlie, Tango, airport information, Quebec 0900, Zulu, weather, wind 236, at 7, visibility 10,000, sky clear, temperature 2.9, QNH 1017, advise on initial contact, you have information, Quebec. Foxtrot.
Right, so we're putting 1017 in our standby and continue with the rest. Yeah, true, John, very true. Right, our forecast is flight level 075 and the QNH is 1017. Right guys, and for those of you that have not ventured into my private hangar, this little calculator is there as well to work out our ISA deviations. So my daughter is making a noise, let me just quickly sorry, just had to tell her not to make a noise. Right, so airport elevation going to get from the charts, it's 151. The current temperature is 22 and that gives us the deviation temperature of 7. So anyway, we can then add 7. Yeah, Paul. I think we all go through stages, eh? But there's nothing like older age and wisdom that comes with that. Right, so let me quickly bring up our winds for us. Right, so we're going to use 250 and 190 and 120. 263 at 15. 285 at 8. 352 at 3. Alright, execute. Alright, that takes care of the whole descent forecast for us, so we should have a pretty smooth VNAV experience going down. This is not a requirement, guys. This is just you know, something that is done in real world more than in flight sim. I don't think there's much of a difference it's going to create in the flight sim up to a certain point at least. So don't worry too much if you guys don't do this, but I like to do it sometimes. It's it just makes, you know, give me that warm fuzzy feeling. So
Goedemorgen.
hey Johan.
You know it's not following for history, Larry. It's cold for me.
John is here, so John is here.
Hi John, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Johan.
Geez, like, because you, while you were asleep, you got a lot of drama again.
I saw.
Yes, this morning.
I actually deleted a few of those posts because some of the guys are just asses. You know, there's some things that you shouldn't say in public. So I just
Yeah,
deleted a lot of the stuff. You know, and I discussed it earlier on the stream. Yeah, I think it's a good thing and a bad thing that most of the excitement happens when I'm asleep. So I just go back afterwards and get rid of
luckily I
stuff.
was here. Yeah, because you know, it released 21, and then 21 does the same exact thing as 20, and then the guys goes ballistic, and then just I think it was a half an hour later, 21A comes out, and yeah, I did a test flight from Kinshasa to Tambu, and yeah, it went smooth sailing.
Excellent.
You know that waypoint you get for runway 03 right, when you turn left, that Standerton something arrival.
Yeah.
It shows the curve there now.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. I see I've got another batch of bad authors here, hey John? Have a look here. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, I was just looking at them. They need looking at, Nico, as when you get time.
Yeah, when Matho, yes, yeah, bad author. I'm gonna have to revisit them, you know, go and find the broken files and just rerun them, you know. It's scary. I didn't know they were so bad, yeah. This is part of the Zoom level 16 batch that I made. I'll change the service provider. I'll use a different service provider this time. You know, just rerun them when I have time. Good morning, Norman. Sorry, missed your note there.
You're live?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Are you live on Twitch or
YouTube?
And how it's going so far?
Very good, very good. I'm on 21A. I used your recommendation earlier to upgrade, so this is 21A. I'm going to try it, see what happens. So far I haven't had a problem.
Can you zoom in on the altitude dial, please? There's something wrong there on my installation.
On the dial? Why?
On the altitude.
Yeah, it's got a little thingy there, it seems. Ach, come on.
Yeah. So you've got it too. Yeah, you've got it too, yeah. But that's not a hassle, that's a minor.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that is about.
I think that's the range selector that is goes to.
Yeah, probably.
Of course, with the 21 release, it was all over the place, you know, when you were
yes,
everywhere. you're on your way to Cape Town.
Yep.
We're nearly there.
Yeah. And this is also approximately the end of the Zoom level 16 ortho, so it gives me good hope. I have never seen this error on the 17s, so
Is that white squares?
yeah. It's obviously linked to the service provider. Wherever I got it, they gave me white texture, so I must just use a different service provider.
Folks from the flight deck, we've started our descent. Should have you on the ground in about 15 minutes. Want to thank you so much for your company and business, and hope to see you again with us sometime very soon.
No, not at all. There's only 3 corruptions on this hard drive because of the bad sectors, so it's not part of it. Norman, this Zoom level 16 was from Bing, and I think that was the problem. All the rest, all the other orthos is from ArcGIS, and I have not seen any issues with them. I mean, it's proper.
So why are you still using Bing? You can use Arc.
No, the reason is simple. Arc blacklisted my IP address. Okay, and I had to redo most of South Africa because they don't like you pulling their data. Okay, and I then got myself a VPN, so I changed my IP address every time I run a batch, and that's the only way you can get the ARC ones off my ISP at least. For some reason, I don't know why they do that. And so when I wanted to fill in the blanks, because I obviously have Zoom level 17 where it counts, where you've got the mountains and where you need the better quality. So that was done with ARC, no hassles there. And then I thought to myself, oh, you know what, I don't want to spend my whole life on a VPN. Let's just run Bing, because I checked a couple of thousand, some of them really look good. I said, oh, well, let it just run. And now I see after the fact now that obviously that was not a good choice. That was just an easy way out that has now come back to bite me in the backside.
Maybe the ARC service they don't like a load on the ARC service. That's
no, they don't. Yeah, they don't. So they blacklist your IP very quickly. But look at this, the difference. You see, this is Zoom level 17. Look at the definition now. It's freaking amazing. Alright, so we're coming up to the hold, Paul, just for you. Oh, auto throttle.
You can almost see the ball with John there on the cliff.
Yeah, the monkeys. Yeah. Alright, I actually see the draw error. Johan, if you look at the ND, you'll see there's a bit of a draw error. It's not supposed to have the circles. It's just one waypoint to another. There are no holds. The only hold that we have here is at Ardas, which was something we created that's going to come in at flight level 250, I think.
Yeah, there's something wrong there. I see that. That's the 3 circles.
Yeah. So
now it's a double going to fly that circle.
I don't know. We're going to see. And then obviously I'll have to report back, but I don't think so. I've actually seen this on the NGX once or twice in my life, and I've also seen it on some of the Airbuses, so it's like a slight calculation error or something. I don't know. It's not a major thing.
Yeah, that is a calculation error.
It's not a major thing.
Now if it wants to fly the circle, just take the next waypoint.
Of course.
Directly.
Yeah, we'll just go direct.
Many ways to fuel a cat.
Of course.
Not that I want to kill a cat, but it's just saying.
Yeah, it's just the saying. Anyway, I can tell you one thing. This thing is on the glide path. Yeah, it's on the descent path actually. Sorry, correct terminology. It's perfect. I don't see anything wrong with this release.
Yeah, the descent profile is very good. I just noticed when I did my flight to Tamru yesterday, that last waypoint, when it turned left, it was below the profile for quite a while, about 800 or 1,100 feet. But that doesn't really matter because you know you have your heart ceiling of 8,000 feet. So
Yeah, then it blocks you again.
Yeah.
Ah, look, those circles went away. It's recalculated. It's gone.
Yeah, as you speak now. Because I got the tickets for the lake.
It's very possible that it did a quick calculation and now it's recalculated, and it's obviously done it correctly now. Zibo magic.
And another thing
sure.
I noticed, Nico, check your performance now. Check your count, your FAPS counter. It's going pretty. It's very good now.
Yeah, you mean the frames, FPS?
Yeah, your frames.
Yeah.
Frames counter.
Well, this is one of the perks of going to C++. The moment you go to C++, you're going to automatically have a better optimized system that you can do much more, and you'll have better frame rates just because it's optimized.
Looks like you're gonna land to 19.
Yeah. The wind at the last check was something like 236 at 7. Actually dropped my paper. Yeah, there we go. 236 at 7. I love coming over these mountains in the real world as well. It's impressive.
Serious country, Worcester country.
Kevin, yes, it started with 3-4.
What reservoir was there underneath?
I don't know. The actual core sim was probably created with C++ as well, but there is provision for Lua, XLua, Python, a whole bunch of other things that you can intermingle here. Alright, so we're coming up to that hold. Let's see what it does for us. I'm not going to touch anything. Let's see. There we go. Woohoo! Ball. Look at that, my friend. Look at that.
You want to try the whole.
Yeah, Paul wanted to see how to set that up and how it works. We actually went through a bit of a learning curve there as well. I snookered myself. I went into map mode and we couldn't get the whole setup again. And then I realized,
but why is there two entries of aircraft on your FMC?
The one is the one with the hold, and the other one is the one without the hold.
Did you put in a hold?
I put it in myself. Yes, that was on request of Paul.
So you want to fly a hold now?
Yes, yeah. Paul wants to see. Yeah, Paul, let me change there. Then you can watch there. You can watch the same thing. It's on that magenta line. Perfect. I increased the turn to a 2-minute turn because I think 1.5 minutes is harsh. You know, that's going to create
what's the distance make?
I don't know. Let's have a look. See. I didn't put in a distance. We just work on a 2 minutes, so it's a 2-minute turn. So.
Oh, so you choose time?
Yes.
Not the distance.
No. In the previous version of the Zibo, the hold picture that you guys see on the Indy, that was a JPEG. You know, so it wasn't a drawn thing, it was a JPEG. So this is one of the things that the C++ has changed. Now apparently it gets drawn. You know, it's an actual drawing that you see that happens on the Indy opposed to a JPEG being
Yeah.
projected on the ND. Yep, perfect. I love this plane, I tell you what. I flew the NGX in the week again. I actually did 2 flights with it. I flew from Johannesburg to Durban, then Durban to Cape Town with the NGX. Not bad, but it's not the Zibo. Eh? I prefer this one by far. Norman, Paul asked us to do the whole thing. So this is a practice, yes, but I didn't plan it that way. It was just me accommodating Paul now, and I think we all learned a couple of lessons in the process, so all good. Look at that turn. That flight path vector, that's the little white line that is flickering just above the magenta. That's the flight path vector. I mean, it is perfect on to the turn there. Amazing. Really nice.
Are you using little net or
negative? Navigraph.
Okay. But Navigraph will also show you track on the map.
There is Navigraph, Jan. You see what I see? Mohammed, thank you for the subscribe, sir. Thank you. Nice to have you as part of the family.
But it doesn't show you a trail, you know, your leg trail. So
what do you mean the leg trail? What are you talking about?
You know that dot lines like little map does?
Oh no, it doesn't show that. No. But I mean, if you follow this video, this stream now, you'll see this is perfectly on the path there. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the hold now, so we're just going to go Ardas, get rid of the hold and let it continue. Yes sir, yeah Norman, yeah, you will see that. You'll also see the struggle, how we went through and how we worked it out and so on. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, follow that whole perfect.
Yeah. Gear down and locked. Yes, I saw that. I also got the invitation to apply for the beta and I did, but it seems I was not lucky enough to become one of the beta testers. But we'll wait for the next round, see what happens. You can do that as well, Mater. A lot prettier. Yeah, you just click exit alt. There's the exit alt. So what? Yay, we're done. Let's do that. I like that. It's a lot prettier. That's actually so nice.
Yeah, it's good to know it can do it all properly now. It done it properly in the past, but it tends to overshoot, you know, the magenta line.
But
now it's doing it perfectly.
Yeah, the reason why it overshot the magenta line is it was a static JPEG that was projected into the ND. Now it's drawn, so it's the actual path that's drawn. It's not just a picture and the thing trying to copy a picture. Paul, yes, you can exit the hold at any point in time, but you've got to either be on an intercept heading for the the LNAV to work, or you're going to have to vector yourself into an intercept position so that the LNAV will work again. So it's just a bit dangerous. Okay, Matha, yeah, that's also a good answer. I haven't tried it, so okay, that is probably true as well, yeah. But just be on standby if it's not, so yeah.
Yeah, but it's safe to be on a heading track.
Yeah.
It's more safe to do it. But I understand what the Matthew said. You can do it flying away from the track also. It will turn around.
Yeah.
It will spin around to the waypoint. Is that the RNAV approach or
ILS? RDAS RNAV. I've got the ILS as a backup if we need to use it, but I'm going to do RNAV. Matha, it should be the same principle, eh? It should be the exact same principle. The only difference, like me and Johan have just been discussing, is now it's going to be closer on the line opposed to just following or trying to mimic following a JPEG. You know, now you're actually following a drawn line. So it should be more accurate now.
Yeah, what the NGX is doing is, you know, is overshoot the magneto line. It's sharp adjusting the curve. It make it wider or smaller.
Also, another thing that I'm trying is I removed the vectors leg, so there should be a nice curve going into the finals there. So we'll see what this approach is going to look like. I think I must just be ready to slow down a little bit because we're a bit high and fast. John, I'll do my best. Not sure exactly what you want to hear, so I'll basically just explain what I think I should. One of the things is you need to slow down, very definitely, even before the deceleration point, especially on the RNAV in this configuration and on this airport. It happens very fast, and if you're not slowed down enough, you're going to overshoot something somewhere.
Did you see the Zibo doing a Tokyo drift in the air?
Yeah. Gonna pull up this handbrake and we're gonna drop one of these wings, but we're gonna turn. Right, so I'm slowing down by just putting out a bit of flaps already.
Yeah, the 737-800 is very slippery there, especially on the tank. Yeah, and there's the curve.
Yep, beautiful. John, I just noticed you said there for the ILS approach. This is an RNAV approach. I'm not doing the ILS. I'll have to talk to you then separately for an ILS about it. But it's the same principle. The only difference is I don't have the ILS frequency active in my nav radios because I don't want any interference on the RNAV. That's the only difference. So all we're doing is we're allowing this aircraft to literally fly the path, VNAV and LNAV as it should. Oh, non-ILS. Shows you. I read too fast. Sorry. So on the RNAV, that's only the only difference, man. I mean, there's two differences. Number one, your ILS frequency must not be active, and number two, your decision height and what is on your MCP should be close to each other, because if you block the descent with the MCP, the aircraft won't descend. Alright, one of the things that you also need to do is on this page, just make sure that your glide slope is on, you know, that it will actually follow the glide slope. So that's the three differences. On that page, glide slope on.
Yeah, I think it's safe to do that in 180 knots.
Yeah, I'm at 169. Yeah, so what? Who cares, mate? Though, that doesn't sound nasty, but at least the curve is there. It's still flying the path. So the next step is not to put the curve in. The next step is now to synchronize the curve. You know, so we're one step closer to where we want to be.
Yeah, I also think in real life the pilot's using selector mode, heading mode.
It depends. In real world, at this point in time, we would have been on vectors. So we would be on heading mode and then go back to whatever else. With the atmosphere and with the weather as this, I can virtually guarantee you it would have been a VFR landing. They would have cancelled IFR, gone in VFR. They would have made the turn here. That's Tygerberg Mountain. That's how we landed the last time I was in the real world cockpit. You turn right in front of that mountain and then you go in on visual. I mean, this is excessive. Nobody's going to waste their fuel to do this actual approach. It's not necessary. Mate, though, the aim of the updates were to get the curved lines in. The update is not supposed, or the aim was not supposed to follow the magenta lines. It's supposed to follow the flight path. I think the next round of fixes will be to sync the magenta line to the actual flight path, because the flight path is already in place. It must just draw it in the right place now.
Yeah, if you look closely, it flies directly to the waypoint. It doesn't turn on the
magenta line.
Magenta line that is miscurved.
Yeah, I suppose that certain portions of the curve will be flown and certain portions not. But that's why it's a release candidate, and that's why we're experimenting. You know, I mean, all will get sorted in time, but nobody just arrives. I've said it before in the stream. You know, you can't just arrive and say, hello, I'm here. There's a...
Zibo to calculate all this in C++ now is my master's job. It's a very big job.
Yeah, so there's steps. You know, the first step was to introduce the magenta line in the RNAV approaches. Then the next step, then the next step, then the next step. You know, now we've got more curved lines, but they need to be synced, kind of a thing. So we'll get there.
For us to want all the things,
all at once. Yeah.
All at once, yeah. That's some time.
Look at that curve. This one, exactly, just what I wanted to say. It's following it beautifully. Nope. You see that the deceleration point is right in front of us. Once we go level or semi-level, what we're going to do is we're going to drop the wheels and go flaps 15, and then from there on we will start looking at the speed.
And there's stable now. Most beautiful in the world.
Yeah.
He doesn't have his cloth on today.
Nope. It's open.
Ja, jy van 'n buzzing Tygerberg hospitaal.
I must say, John, this is an excellent version. This one has not given me anything to complain about. I haven't done the Porto to Lisbon route to see if the unable cruise altitude issue has been resolved, but we've discussed it and the guys are very well informed about it, so that will be fixed. Right, okay, so there we go, flaps 15, gear down. Sorry, I did it the wrong way around. It's usually gear down then flaps 15, but who cares, it's fine, we did it. Right, and as you guys can see, it's perfectly positioned on that glide slope now.
You must try that extended night lights for South Africa.
I keep on forgetting. I keep on forgetting. Okay, so in theory we're talking about the 753 rules. So the next step is going to be at 5 miles. We need to start configuring for landing, and at 3 miles we need to be perfect.
2500.
Stable and ready to land. There we go, there it's gone on to LNAV, VNAV.
Your landing speed are quite high, now that
No man, it's not my landing speed. Oh yes, yeah, the final landing speed, yeah, it will be, actually it will be, because I'm landing flaps 30, sorry. Yeah, you're right,
okay.
I'm landing flaps 30.
Yeah, you're a bit heavy also, maybe you're dropping to this.
Yeah, it is, I'm fully loaded. But in South Africa the guys don't land on flaps 40, at all, never. In Johannesburg on a hot day they actually land at flaps 15 because of the speed required at high altitude. The density altitude messes them around, so they land flaps 15. gear down, speed brake on, auto brake on. Ah, there we go.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
Mr. Birch 3000 set. Flaps 30.
Approaching 19.
You are still on autopilot.
Approaching minimum.
Aye.
Minimums. 400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Neil, are you talking on the Indy and are you talking about the RAS or what are you talking about the app 19? I didn't even look at that. I was already concentrating on the landing. Yeah, welcome to Cape Town, guys. Yeah, sorry, no, I missed that. I don't know why it wouldn't show. Unfortunately, I don't have control over that. Okay, yeah, if it did say approached 19, yeah, that's a modification I brought on to my Zibo. It's supposed to show you on the Indy, at least in my Zibo it does. It shows you you're approaching the runway and stuff like that now. It won't be unless you modify your Zibo to show that. I can actually tell you how to do that. Let's quickly do a replay or two, and if you're willing to stick around at the end of the stream, I'll quickly tell you how to get that on your Indy. It's kind of nice because you know, to have the visual cue. I just didn't look at it at all right now, but yeah, it's good for taxi, at least for me. Neil, okay, next time then, at some point in time, I'll tell you how to do that. In actual fact, why don't I show it on video, then you can come back later and just watch the end of the video. Okay, cool. We'll do that. Right, so this is also the TDG free version of Cape Town. I don't normally use it. I usually use the NMG one, but because this is a TDG flight, I just thought I'd throw this in here as a surprise, and then you guys can see what it looks like.
2500.
Ooh, I forgot about this ACORS.
Oops.
I hope they're going to accept this flight now. Damn it. Thanks, Yorkie. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you got a pulsing light on.
Yeah.
Landing light.
Yeah.
Birds, be aware, we are coming.
Yeah. Alright, okay, well.
I reckon that pulsing light is a bird that they have.
Yes. Yeah, apparently a good one.
Oh, that was a nice land.
I'm taxing too fast. Right, we can get rid of you.
I'm gonna broke that nose wheel. That speed, turning at that speed.
I have great faith in the Boeing engineers, don't worry.
Did you see that preliminary report of the MAX?
Yeah.
But I feel that pilots also have
of course,
have
responsibility and a hand in that pie.
Yeah, because they're going way too fast. Way too fast.
Yeah.
They never touch that throttle handle at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know.
Because you know, to adjust your stab trim manually with that high speed and that airflow over the tail fins, you know, it's almost impossible.
The impression I get is that they had a fright. They got shocked and they were in a state of shock and they didn't do the basics right. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
They freeze.
Yeah.
It was a lot of flies.
And they didn't eat ice cream like me the other night. Man, when I pranked this aircraft, I was eating ice cream.
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
You got a choice, yes or no. They haven't. It's only.
According to the report I saw, the pilots followed all the procedures correctly, 100%.
Yeah, just shows
Yeah,
you.
they follow the procedures, but there is something wrong there. You know, the airspeed was too high. They're going to overspeed everything. There was something wrong.
Yeah, if you do the procedures right, but your speed is wrong, you're still doing it wrong.
Well, I didn't mean any reference to speeds.
Yeah, it probably depends on the report, Jerry. That's why I said earlier to you, John, that there's just too much speculation. I don't even want to get involved there because you're not going to know. Not right now. It's going to take some time. All right. go. Okay, so let me show you quickly how this other story works. First of all, you're going to have to download XRAS, the latest version. So let me get a link for that. Explain. Right, I'm back. Okay. Explain. RAS. Right, so this will be the first step. You need the latest version of XRAS. Right. Now, normally one installs XRAS to the resources plugin folder because that gives you the ability to use the RAS on all of your aircraft. In this instance, and to get the display on your ND to work properly, where the XRAS interfaces with your Zibo ND and gives you the worded display there, you need to install this XRAS that you download into the Zibo. There you see Zibo. I've got the Zibo folder, sorry. You guys will have the 737-800X plugins folder. So it goes into the actual aircraft. There's the Zibo. It goes into the plugin folder. There's the XRAS. Alright. Then I'm going to quickly give you the config file. You need to have this file, xras.cfg, in your Zibo root folder. That file needs to be there because that will tell the aircraft, you know, this is how the interfacing works and where to find the information to display and all these kind of things. I'm going to copy this file.
Yeah, another thing I've changed in that XRAS is that long landing.
Yeah, that's crazy, but anyway.
I adjusted a bit.
Yeah. So if you go to my public vault, the link is in the description below the stream, below all my videos. I'm going to make a little folder here quickly and let me show you guys while I'm doing it. So that's the Zibo folder and we're going to call that XRAS, and then in that folder I'm going to give you this file. Right, so if you give it 10 seconds, see, it's quick, it's uploaded already. It's 2 kilobytes, so that's fast. Okay, so if you go to the private hangar link below the video and you browse into my Zibo folder, you will find XRAS. You copy that file and you put it into your actual Zibo. Where is it now? Somewhere here. There you go. You put it into your Zibo root. So it's the two things you need to do. You need to go, three things. Download XRAS, the latest one. Put it into plugins. There. As you can see, that's the actual Zibo plugin folder. And then you need to have the XRAS CFG in your Zibo root folder. And that's it. That's how easy it is. So when you taxi now and you go and get close to your runway, it's going to tell you, you know, in the writing on your ND about there where the mouse is. You'll see that it tells you you're now approaching the runway. And that's how easy it is. Nothing to it. I hope you guys get it right.
Yeah, personally, I don't like the runway to come up on your ND. I like the audio alert.
I like both. You know, this shows you again how people differ, but I like both. It's something that just brings a little bit more realism. You know, I've not seen it in our aircraft, in the Mango Airlines aircraft. Definitely didn't see it. I would have noticed that immediately. But for the Zibo, It's a nice to have for me.
I just hope Zibo gives us a breather and don't update again tonight.
Ah,
We got a lot.
no, man.
Nico,
Yes, sir.
with regards to XRAS in your resources plugins folder,
You just leave it.
presumably you have to remove that.
No, you just leave it. Because what
Oh,
happens,
okay.
what happens is your other aircraft, your Tollers, Flight Factor, whatever other aircraft you have, they are still going to read it from resources plugins. But the Zibo will look at the local one first and then skip the second one.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for clearing that.
No worries, no worries. So guys, another thing, if you ever want to do shark diving, this is False Bay over there, that whole piece of sea over there. If you ever want to see great whites and come and dive with him, this is the place to come to.
And
Best
whale
place in the
spotting.
world. Oh, whale spotting, yeah. But the sharks, that's the big attraction there. They kill probably 2 or 3 people a year if you don't watch out for the notices and you go and swim without being in the proper place. So that's also something you have to be careful of. But that is a wonderful attraction for tourists. It's right there. That's False Bay. That's obviously Table
Simon's
Mountain.
down on the right, Bezoek.
Yeah. Well, there's not much left of Simon's Town. It's very heartbreaking, but anyway. Okay, well, oh yes, Norman, yeah, very, very importantly, guys, obviously this is something that you're going to have to add to your list of things that you need to back up and copy back into position if you ever do a clean install of the Zibo. You know, don't forget this. Very important, Norman, thank you very much.
Yeah, the best bet is to do a backup of this 21A now and put it in a temporary folder with all that adjustments you made. And then if you're doing a update and it's not working or something is wrong, you can
come back to this. Backup. Yeah, come back to this. Sure. Okay, well, now I need more coffee. Guys, unless you have more questions or suggestions, I'm going to stop the stream here. And thank you very much for joining me. It was actually lovely speaking to you guys today. You guys kept me busy. It was nice to learn things with you and to explain things with you. So I hope to see you again very soon. But until then, enjoy whatever it is that you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks for the stream.
No worries. Pleasure.